Hey guys, this is Foster. I'm gonna give a review on Black Panther, but to give kind of a little backstory, just minor spoilers on Captain America: Civil War. T'Challa, the Black Panther, got introduced in that movie, and within the first half of the movie, his father dies, and pretty much passes the crown on to T'Challa. And in this movie, it's his standalone, and they focus more on T'Challa struggling with becoming a good king while handling the responsibilities of the Black Panther. So he's kind of juggling both and trying to do his best to maintain. But just from the bat, I want to say that this movie is fantastic. This is probably one of the best movies I've seen in the past several months. It is fantastic. It has a great pace to it. It doesn't have any slow points or where it feels like you hit a slump and you're not just waiting for the next scene just to see what happens. And the overarching story is well written. Like, it's very interesting from the jump. It pulls you in, and just it's a great ride from there. And there's a lot of character development throughout several characters in the movie, not just T'Challa, but you see the progression on a lot of other characters. Sorry, but yeah, you can see you can see Black Panther kind of struggling at the beginning of the movie. In Civil War, his father makes a quote saying that it's hard to be a good man and a good king, and you can see him struggling with that. You can see where he doesn't know where to draw the line and like what's too harsh or what what he necessarily needs to do to step up and be that. He doesn't. He's kind of playing the field. You kind of tell he's being a little reserved, but try to be good at the same time. But you see him naturally progress throughout the movie, and you feel something for it. But by the end of the movie, you get well connected with Wakanda, the country, with how they implement the politics, the culture, the people. Like, you feel submerged in this atmosphere. I loved everything about how they displayed Wakanda, and like if it was a real place, I wanna go vacay there for like a month, like check out everything. It looks beautiful how they did everything. But I did have a few minor issues with the movie, nothing too big, but like throughout the movie, there's a sprinkle of stereotypical tropes that you've seen in a handful of other superhero movies. Like I'm guaranteed you're gonna see at least one or two tropes that you've seen from another movie, but that's not too big of an issue. Like you're gonna see that eventually, but and then another thing is Killmonger, the character. He's one of the big baddies in the movie. Well, he's played by Michael B. Jordan, which I feel like he's a fantastic actor. You probably would recognize him from Creed or Fantastic Four, two of his more recent movies. He's a great actor, and he did this character justice. He did it well. But how they introduced this character, they introduced this character very early in the movie, but then they pretty much just leave him out of the movie for like the first half of the movie. He gets a nice introduction, and then he's just gone for the first act of the movie, and then they reinvert him into the movie, which I felt like they could have done that different. But and the other big thing that I felt like they could have done different was in the movie itself. There's two main focus points, and I felt like they they could have broken that up differently. Like each focus point had enough material and meat to it to where they could sustain the entire movie just by itself. Like they could broke it up in a 2-part ordeal and make a sequel with one of the points. They could have focused on one out of these 2 points and ran with it, made a full movie, and then made a part 2 or sequel to Black Panther. But they kind of just, it felt like they mashed the ideas of Black Panther 1 and part 2 into one movie and rolled with it. And a lot of movies, that's like what comes their downfall, is where you get too many too many plots. Like you get like 3 to 5 plots, 2 3 subplots, and a layered theme within it. But Black Panther doesn't do that. But that's where a lot of movies fail. Like I said, there's only 2 focus points, and it's not overbearing. It doesn't pull the movie into 7 different directions. But I felt like they could have broken that up, and they would have been fine. But kind of talk a little bit about the numbers now. Rotten Tomatoes has given it a 97%, and honestly, whenever Rotten Tomatoes gives you anything past 80, your movie's usually on point. It's pretty dang good, and they had a $200 million budget, which is a pretty good chunk of change, but they grossed or like worldwide they grossed $1.1 billion, and 560 of that was domestic. So just in domestic alone, they killed it. You imagine making $560 million, and that's just in America. That's crazy, but that's kind of my thoughts on the movie. Very fantastic. If you've not seen it, I suggest you do, even if you're not a big MCU or person, because like it's a standalone movie where it it jabs a few hints and like comments towards the overall MCU, but you don't need to see all you don't need to see all of the MCU movies or a lot of them to understand what's going on. Like it does its own thing pretty well. So like I said, if you've not seen it, I suggest going out and seeing it. And I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do on my next video, but I'm gonna probably post something here in the next day or two. So I'll catch y'all then. All right.